Staying with us, you're still watching The World Now on TVC News. Charity is a powerful force for unity and justice. It goes beyond donations, bringing people together through volunteering, advocacy, and compassion to build stronger, fairer communities. And today, charity plays a vital role in addressing not just immediate needs, but the root causes of poverty and inequality, which are filling critical gaps in healthcare, education, and public support, especially where systems fall short. The United Nations 2030 Agenda places ending poverty at the heart of global progress, calling for partnerships across governments, civil society, and charity groups. To honor these efforts, the UN established the International Day of Charity on September the 5th annually, commemorating the life of Mother Teresa of Calcutta, a symbol of selfless service. For more than 45 years, she cared for the poor, sick, and dying, founding the Missionaries of Charity and earning the 1979 Nobel Peace Prize. The International Day of Charity is what we will be talking about. Right now, we bring in a fellow at the Certified Public Administrator of England and Wales. He's also a member of the Board of Directors, Zakat and Sadaqat Foundation, Dr. Abdullahi Shuaib. We thank you for joining us and welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Right, so International Charity Day, September the 5th. Here we are. What are your thoughts on, making the act of giving and charity and kindness going beyond, just a symbol, for it to be like an everyday thing, especially when you look at the global concerns of conflict and hardship?
Yeah, thank you once again for having me. It is very important that I build on what you have just said, just beyond giving out. Let us start by looking at the statistics, particularly in the Nigerian context. Going by the NBS statistics or data of 2022, it shows clearly that the multidimensional poverty index of Nigeria is 63%, which is more than half of the population of Nigeria. And to make the case so frightening, it also went further to also indicate that the intensity of poverty in the rural setting is about 72%, while in the urban areas it is 42%. Either of the two, it calls for a lot of concerns. That is why I will want to commend the advocates of September 5th of every year as the International Day of Charity, particularly commemorating the services, the selfless services Mother Teresa had actually made to so many poor people. And taking it from that, I think it is also a clarion call for those of us who are in this part of the world, Nigeria. I've just given out a data from one of the government agencies responsible for articulating the challenges of Nigerians. So looking at it from that point of view, it is important to mention clearly that we are going through a very difficult phase in Nigeria today. Historically, for every successive regime we see, rather than the case improving, the case of Nigerians is getting more backward, and the pains and the hunger is getting more deeper. But the good thing, is that recently we have been able to see that the government of Nigeria, I'm talking of the federal government in this case, have done a lot in terms of trying to improve upon the economic fortune of Nigerians and of Nigeria. That is a very wonderful, effort that should be commended. But again, when we look at it from another dimension, coming back to the issue of the greatest social challenge of the people, and Nigeria in particular in this case, is the challenge of existentialism, which has to do with poverty.
Because I was coming to that, to ask how you what your message will be for governments at the federal and at all levels to address this issue of poverty and the yawning gap between those that have and they have not. Because, you know, the administration of the present Bola Tinubu, of course, you know, came riding on that renewed hope and you know, all of that, handing out interventions. Cash interventions and, you know, other forms of interventions and other forms of policies. What do you make of this? Is that a step in the right direction? How do you see
Of course,
it?
I cannot agree less with you. It is a right step in the right direction. But we can also build on this and also improve better. Because one of the ways through which we can sustain what the government currently is doing is that there is a need for us to put in place, to institutionalize the act of charity. And by institutionalize the act of charity, I mean the policies of government. It must resonate with the policies of the government. It must also resonate with the strategic, you know, agendas of corporate citizens. And then in our institution, in our various institutions, it should also be embedded in the curriculum. So that even from the secondary school level to the tertiary school level, you know, we are trying to build a culture of charity, of giving. So if the younger ones are given this opportunity and this orientation as young as they are, by the time they are getting matured, already it has become part and parcel of us, and that can go a long way to make a very significant impact. Number two is that it's also very important to build on what the government is doing by ensuring that there is synergy, there is partnerships, there is collaborations, you know, with the civil society organizations, with the NGOs, with faith-based organizations in this country. And then not only that, government alone cannot do it.
Indeed.
We've not seen anywhere in the world where government alone, you know, is solving the problem of its citizens and even residents. So there is need to have a synergy. And by having synergy, we are going to be complementing the efforts of the government at the federal level, at the state level, and then at the local government level, where the people really, who are feeling the brunt, you know, resides.
Yes, and we've also seen people calling for a need for a fine balance, you know, when government, when groups, when individuals want to, you know, dole out aid items to people in need, especially in Nigeria. We've seen how people rush and then, you know, it results into unfortunate disasters of people dying when, you know, there is not well put in place structures, so to speak. And that is also, on one hand, there's also the issue of the dangers of tokenism. If that's all people come to expect, are we also doing it right? What do you think?
There is need for a paradigm shift. When I mean paradigm shift, I mean, I've already mentioned one, we have to institutionalize the act of charity.
Structure, indeed.
There must be partnerships and collaborations with, you know, genuine, you know, organizations that we can easily trace their sources of, you know, their resource mobilization strategies. We can also go further by ensuring that the government also build the capacity, not only government alone, all these various organizations I've mentioned, the civil society, the NGOs, the faith-based organizations, coming together to complement the effort of government. There is need for us to build the capacity of the people who are on the lowest, you know, strata of the society, because when you build their capacity, particularly with, you know, vocational skills, and then you now provide the starter kits for them, if somebody has financial literacy, that person will be able to manage no matter the token you give the person. If the person doesn't have financial literacy, give the person millions. That person will come back again, you know, worse off than he or she was before such a person actually received those things. So there is need for, you know, capacity building of those people who are living below poverty line, so that they can also attain what we call financial independence to be able to manage, you know, themselves and their families.
All right, Dr. Abdullahi Shuaib, that will be a fine place to rest our conversation for now due to time constraints. But we thank you very much for your contributions.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.